Monday's evil sister, twin sister, or something. I don't know, because of an ear infection. Oh.
Ooh.
Well, I hope the ear infection gets cleared up. Ear infections can be a bear. I swear to God, they can like really hurt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had ear infections. Yep,
Those
you
suck.
has made it, Mitch. You has made it. And also, along with Mitch and Jacob, we have a fuckwad, a Neil, a Commander Root, a King Nosebleed,
and an electrical skateboard.
Who we think, you know, welcome.
He's a Lurkbot.
Yep, we're starting with
the Lurkbot 9000.
We're starting with little things. Last night when we good afternoon, Laura.
Hello, Laura.
We did go to Middle Earth and play some Lord of the Rings online.
Yep.
We are enjoying the anniversary thing, even though we've run into a couple of snags on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, all in all, it's a game that we absolutely love to play, and the kin that we're a member of has a lot of good people on it, so it makes it worth it.
A lot of funny people on it.
Yeah. After we got a little tired of that, we decided that we were going to go and check out.
Just what was on television and everything, I found
we tripped across American Pickers.
Yeah, well, that's an old favorite of mine
Yeah.
and everything. Just to see some of the stuff that they come up.
And they found some really neat stuff.
They did find some cool stuff.
They really found that. Last night's episode, they wound up finding. Well, this was the second episode we watched, I think. They wound up going to Minnesota and they found this guy who, for over 30 years, ran a carnival and did kiddie rides and stuff. So they bought the kiddie rides from him, and some of these kiddie rides were cool. He actually took a belly tank from a fighter plane and turned it into a rocket ship, and that was really
rocket
cool.
ship ride. Yeah,
the rocket ship ride.
That was absolutely.
So he actually made a homemade ride and stuff. So all that is really cool. So if you guys haven't checked out American Pickers, you really got to check that show out. And if Troy Landry is a name that strikes familiarity, he is from Swamp People on the History Channel. And he has a new show for when he's not hunting gators in the bayou. It's called Mysteries of the Swamp. He is now in his off-season helping out friends in the Everglades in Florida to help solve the infestation.
I'm thinking that he does things other than that as well, and everything. Last night was the first time that we watched it. But, last night he was helping with the Burmese python problem down in the Everglades. Yeah. And
it was kind of sad to see, because every time they did close those landscape shots of the Everglades, you didn't see any deer, there were no rabbits, no birds flying around, nothing, because of the invasiveness of the Burmese python. Morning, Callie and Futter. And glad you guys could join us. Hey, Panina. So, yeah, it was really sad to see that, but they did explain how for the most part, how the infiltration started, and it was a research lab that got destroyed during Andrew.
Yeah.
That coupled with people that, bought Burmese pythons as pets, and then they got too big for any of the enclosures that they built for them and set them loose. These are pythons that are not indigenous to the United States, and they have been eating everything, from the rabbits to the deer in the area to the birds, and even baby alligators and crocodiles. So the ecology of the Everglades is in danger of being overrun and turned on its ear because of the invasiveness of these pythons. And the reason our camera is working this morning is because we went back to normal latency, so we're about 8 to 10 seconds behind you guys.
Yep.
So we're back to the normal latency kind of thing. So, because we want to be able to, have you see our reactions to these stories as we read them, and the tweets that we, present to you guys in the morning during the first section of the show. Today marks the 2nd year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Yeah, it does.
We also want to remind you that there are some policemen that are on trial for being derelict in their duty. 30 of them.
30 of
for
them.
being derelict in their duties during the incident happening. So we're keeping an eye on that. I'm probably going to do some research on that after the show. I found 11 different sources on the G7 summit. Yeah, Ronan's eye roll for the win. Yeah. I found 11 different sources on the G7 summit that I am combing through to see if I can do a fair and decent blog post reporting on the G7 summit. There's so much that came out of there. And as we all know, Trump left the summit early because he had to go to Singapore for the meeting with Kim Jong-un, which we will be reporting this morning on how that went. We also have the actual text for the document that they signed and agreed upon. So, and it's short. You'll see when we get there. It's really short. Lawsuits for Pulse. Yeah, if they can prove that the police were actually derelict in their duties, then yes, there will probably be lawsuits.
No, they've already filed the lawsuits.
They've already filed, yeah. So we are keeping an eye on that.
I'll be keeping a close eye on that because some of the one of the main hitches in the thing said they were stopping innocent bystanders as they ran out. Of course, they're stopping everybody as they run out because they need to make sure that those individuals aren't part of the problem.
No, I don't think Trump called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man to his face. They were being rather diplomatic and civil. Jacob says, well, Maddie, I already heard from my godfather, who's a cop, on how much they should be punished. So there's one point of view there. So the first tweet of the morning comes out of the Drug Enforcement Agency. Want to learn more about the greatest drug threats in the United States today? Read the Justice Department and DEA HQ National Drug Threat Assessment, available to the public by clicking here. I will give you the link to the tweet in the live chat in case you guys want to peruse that. This is directly from the DEA. It does it automatically. Don't worry, I don't, disapprove of many of those posts that go through there. This is one of the charts that is in that report. If you click on it, it is a PDF of 181 pages, about 180 pages. And as you can see, from 2008 to 2015, the heroin has quadrupled. That is a major growth in the influx of heroin to the United States. And Ronan and I were discussing it this morning, and it's due to the states that have legalized marijuana because, drug dealers will not be denied their, profit in their illegal industry of choice, so to speak. They're going to make money by hook or by crook. Portable document file, Jacob. So there, the numbers are there.
Yeah.
So
medication still is on the rise and everything. It's up, 10,000.
Almost 10,000 from 2008. What they mean by medications, for those of you that do not know, are prescription medications that are sold illegally on the streets. Whether filled by illegal prescriptions or forged prescriptions and things of that nature. Those drugs are out on the street, and they do include opioids, which lends to the opioid problem.
And the bottom one and everything covers stuff like methadone and things like that as well, and everything. So methadone, of course, has been on the rise because of it's what they prescribe to help people get off of opioids. Yeah. However, it's highly addictive in its own right and everything, and people will take that and they'll be fine and everything, and then they'll sell one or two on the side and everything. So it's and now there's more people.
Yep. All right. So Nogales, U.S. BP agents and Pause on Patrol team arrest Mexican man for smuggling more than 200 pounds of marijuana. # immigration checkpoint. And we are going to go into those details right now. Let me see. Portable document format. Oh, okay. So you know better than me. I just guessed.
Yeah.
I got the portable document right. 2 out of 3 is not bad.
Almost grabbed Maddie's coffee, which would have been a mistake.
Which would have been.
I would have lost a hand.
Mexican national arrested with 200 pounds of marijuana out of Tucson, Arizona this morning. Nogales Station Border Patrol agents apprehended 43-year-old Mexican man at the Interstate 19 immigration checkpoint on Sunday morning after finding more than 200 pounds of marijuana in his vehicle. Agents referred the driver of a Ford F-150 truck for further inspections after a Border Patrol K-9 alerted to an odor it was trained to detect emitting from the vehicle. During a subsequent search of the truck, agents discovered multiple bundles of marijuana worth more than $100,000. Agents seized the truck and drugs and arrested the driver for narcotics smuggling. So here is some of the places they found the drugs from the vehicle. There you go.
Oh, I-19. Been there.
In the seats, yeah. So yeah, he was trying to be sneaky about it, but you can't get past the nose.
Yeah,
the nose. The nose, y'all. A good canine can sniff that shit out. In most cases. And for our Medal of Honor recipient this morning, pharmacist mate went beyond the call of duty to save twice to save his shipmates' lives, earning him the Medal of Honor. Know your mill. So here is the story on that one. Let me see here. So long as something is illegal, it will fetch black market prices. Yes.
Ronan, have you driven across I-21? Yes, I have.
Any idea why there's not more coverage of the heroin issue in the USA?
It goes against a lot of the let's face it,
butter.
The whole deal with legalizing marijuana and everything, it's an influx of extra taxable revenue.
Yeah.
And everything. It's a big boon to the states, which is why they want to legalize it anyhow, because they can take all the money, they can put a tax on that, however much they see fit.
Yeah.
And tax the hell out of it, take all that tax money, and either A, steal it, or B, put it toward worthless programs.
Yeah, true.
And that's what's going with it and everything. Let's not beat around the bush about it. And places like California, they'll take that cash and everything and help fund sanctuary cities.
I know it wasn't a shitpost, butter. Alright, now on to the... If you hear thumps, it's because Zeus is underneath the table with his head in my lap. Alright, here we go. Sailor earned Medal of Honor, saving lives on World War I battlefield. Did you know that in all of World War I, only 21 sailors earned Medals of Honor? John Henry Balk was one of them. Born in 1896 in Edgerton, Kansas, Balk joined the Navy in May 1917 and became a pharmacist's mate first class, a current-day hospital corpsman. He was assigned to the 2nd Division American Expeditionary Forces and was sent to Europe to fight with the Allies in World War I. Twice, Balk risked his life beyond the call of duty to help his injured comrades. Balk served with the 6th Regiment of the U.S. Marines during a battle at Verzy, France, on July 19th, 1918. It was a fierce fight, but Balk put his own fears aside to help the others. He was assigned to the dressing station, a military first aid post close to the combat area. But he didn't stay there. Time and time again that day, he left the safety of the station, fearlessly exposing himself to intense machine gun fire and explosives to help and collect wounded men to take back to safety. He spent 16 hours doing this. A few months later, that gallantry was on full display again, despite heavy gunfire on October 5th, 1918. During a battlefield at Sompy, Balk went ahead of his troops to successfully set up a dressing station on the battlefield. Before either of those incidents, however, Balk was injured during the Battle of Belleau Wood, one of the most significant battles of the war. Thankfully, he recovered. Balk was honorably discharged from the Navy in 1919 and was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroics that same year. Eventually, he returned to service during World War II as a lieutenant in the Naval Reserve, serving at home and in Australia and in the Philippines. In 1950, he retired as a commander, having earned many other awards during his service, including Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star, the Purple Heart, and the French Croix de Guerre. Balk died in October 1980 at the age of 84. He's buried at Riverside National Cemetery in Riverside, California.
Mm-hmm.
A true hero.
Yes.
So, there we are. I like to highlight those kind of stories. Let me see here. I couldn't find...
I could come up with a smart-ass little quip after that and everything involving, the pansy-ass generation, but I'll refrain.
Mm-hmm. You're just going to do it, like, in a passive-aggressive way.
Right, exactly.
Because we love you. Okay, the Department of Interior Picture of the Day comes out of Acadia National Park Services by Stan Zugan. In Maine this time. nice shot of the shoreline.
Oh, Maine. Maine, 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 Maine. I love you in the spring and the summer, and you can keep your fucking winters. I hope I never see you again in the winter time, and may you enjoy your people walking around in negative-degree temperatures and shorts, flip-flops, and fucking t-shirts.
Right. And
polar bear.
The thing that I forgot yesterday, but I'm remembering today, because Mondays always stink for me. On this day in history, what happened on June 12th? Here we go. 1442, Alfonso V of Aragon is crowned King of Naples.
1812, Napoleon Bonaparte and his army make the superb decision to invade Russia.
1849, the mask is patented by Louis P. Hazlitt, the gas mask.
I know what happened with Napoleon and everything.
What?
Somebody in his hey, what could go wrong?
Hey, Mezzo! Yes, Zeus is making thunder this morning.
Okay, 1862, Confederate General Jeb Stuart begins his ride around the Union Army outside of Richmond, Virginia.
1901, Cuba agrees to become an American protectorate by accepting the Platt Amendment.
1918, the first airplane bombing raid by an American unit occurs in France.
1920, Republicans nominate Warren G. Harding for president and Calvin Coolidge for vice president.
Now, here's an interesting thing and everything. Their bombing run. Interesting. History and fact.
Okay.
The bombing run was done with biplanes, the old biplanes and everything, and they weren't actually dropping bombs that were attached and everything. They carried a pouch of mortars and just dropped
the
them.
mortars. Wow.
You slap the bottom to arm it and everything, and then drop the mortar.
Wow. All right, we were here.
Yep, 1921. President Warren Harding urges every young man to attend military training camp. Y'all need to pay attention to that shit.
Yeah. 1926. Brazil quits the League of Nations in protest over plans to admit Germany.
1931. Gangster Al Capone and 68 of his henchmen are indicted for violating prohibition law.
And the only thing they got him on was tax evasion.
Exactly.
1937. 8 of Stalin's generals are sentenced to death during purges in the Soviet Union.
1942. American bombers strike the oil refineries of Polesti, Romania for the first time.
1963. Black civil rights leader Medgar Evers is assassinated by a gunman outside his home in Jackson, Mississippi.
1967. Supreme Court rules that states cannot ban interracial marriages.
1972. At a hearing in front of the U.S. House of Representatives Committee, Air Force General John Lavelle defends his orders on engagement in Vietnam.
1977. David Berkowitz gets 25 years to life for the Son of Sam murders in New York.
1985. The U.S. House of Representatives approves $27 million in aid to the Nicaraguan Contras.
1991. Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines begins erupting for the first time in 600 years.
And if you were born on this date, you share a birthday with John Roebling, civil engineer, pioneer, and designing suspension bridges.
Johanna Spyri, the Swiss author of Heidi.
Anthony Eden, British Prime Minister from 1955 to 1957.
David Rockefeller, international broker.
George H.W. Bush, our 41st president of the United States, was born on this day.
Anne Frank, German diarist, victim of the Holocaust, was born on this date in 1929.
So those are your historical birthdays and what happened on this day, June 12th, 2018. And yes, Jacob, I did say that the only thing they could pin Capone on was tax evasion.
That's right. And he died in Miami, Florida, after being released from Alcatraz, and the cause of his death was syphilis.
Wow. Syphilis.
Complications arising from syphilis.
Alright, so that brings us to the news.
Oh my God, news.
It's news.
Here we go.
Here we go. Okay, it may not necessarily be the weather we want, but it's the weather we're stuck with. Out of the National Weather Service prediction good till June 14th, that's Thursday. Severe thunderstorms possible across the Central Plains today, Eastern Ohio Valley, and the Northeast on Wednesday, and across the Northern Plains on Thursday. Heavy rain and flash flooding possible for portions of the Ohio Valley today, and upper Midwest on Wednesday. Warming trend expected for the interior Northwest and Northern Mid-Atlantic region into midweek. Scattered widespread thunderstorms can be expected along and east of an area of low pressure, an associated cold front that is moving through the central U.S. This frontal boundary along will moisture feeding north from the Gulf of Mexico will be the focus for continued convection over the next couple of weeks.
Ooh.
Next couple of days, excuse me. We had 50 to 65 mile an hour winds yesterday and today. Be careful, Futter. For the next couple of days, not weeks, sorry. The forecast shows 1 to 3 inches of rain through Wednesday for the Ohio Valley, although locally higher amounts will be possible. Let me see. The Storm Prediction Center has identified a slight risk of severe storms for much of the Central Plains today, and from eastern Ohio, West Virginia to upstate New York on Wednesday. An enhanced risk surrounded by a slight risk encompasses most of North Dakota and northwest Minnesota on Thursday. I'm sure my mom's going to love that. A threat for tornadoes, large hail, and strong winds will be present in addition to flash flooding for the described areas. Please refer to the SPC webpage for additional detail on the risks for severe and excessive rainfall. So
excessive. What do they consider excessive rainfall?
I
have no clue.
All right.
Let's take a look at Jacob. It looks like you're going to get hit with some more rain today.
Yeah,
bud.
all of Louisiana's covered, as well as Arkansas, Oklahoma, us, Mississippi, Alabama, all of Florida.
If you're in the southeastern United States, it's going to probably be wet, nasty, and ugly today.
Prepare to swim. Especially if you're in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia,
the master
Kentucky,
of disaster and everything. Texas, you're primarily under some rain and stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the parts of Texas that almost never see rain.
Right, exactly. So that is what the weather map is looking like today.
You guys out in El Paso, don't you worry about a thing. It's going to be hot and nasty, and, well, you'll figure it out.
If y'all have seen Noah heading our way, we need those boat building tips.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the temperature map for the day. So we've got pretty
hot, steamy, nasty, ugly. I'm not going outside.
No, we're not going outside today. So yeah, we have some temperate here with a lot of really hot stuff over here going to the west, long as that stays to the west.
Yeah, the desert southwest and everything is going to be
70s to 80s in the northern half of the United States. So yeah, they're still experiencing cooler weather than us. Which is usually the norm. They're usually cooler than us till about July and stuff like that. And there's still some really cold spots around Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. So you guys be careful. And as always, plan for the weather you have, not the weather you want.
Yep. Pretty much.
Because if we all planned for the weather we want, we'd all be wearing shorts.
Yep.
Alright, so that's the weather prediction for the day. Alright, here we go. And
let's get to these talking points.
And once again, this thing is going, no, I don't want to do that. So we're going to try and do this again. Putting up the talking points. Setting up the pictures, and I'll let Ronan take the first one.
Oh. Trump and Kim move toward denuclearization. Tuesday in Singapore, yes, and you see the news hound just has to, he thinks he's a lapdog.
Yeah.
Tuesday in Singapore, President Trump promised security guarantees but did not go into specifics in regards to North Korea and Kim Jong-un. Recommitted to complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. The unthinkable summit has ended with President Trump thanking leader Kim for taking the first bold step toward a bright new future for his people. The U.S. president did announce he would put a freeze on the war games with South Korea while negotiations continue. Trump has stated it was a cost-saving measure, but North Korea has always seen them as a security threat.
Yep.
They agree on paper to continue discussions, but the document didn't have anything about ending the technical state of warfare between the United States and North Korea. There was a promise to build a lasting and stable peace regime on the peninsula, and also a call to
repatriate.
Yeah, remains of prisoners of war and those who went missing in action during the Korean War. Much like the agreement between North and South Korea at
Panmunjom.
Yes, thank you. The document included a commitment, however weak in its wording, to denuclearize, but no solid plan or timetable to do so. President Trump has stated that Kim accepted his invitation to visit the White House at the right time. Here is what was agreed upon. The United States and the DPRK commit to establish new U.S. DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the peoples of the two countries for peace and prosperity. The United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Reaffirming the April 27th, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. The United States and the DPRK commit to recovering POW MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. Though it is clear there is still work ahead, it seems to be a positive step in the right direction. Yeah, it does.
It does seem to be a step in the positive direction. And I mean, it's just by reading these 4 points, you can see that they're keeping it vague. I wonder when they're going to be a little more. I would like to see Oh, dog! I would like to see a timetable, actually, especially for the denuclearization.
That's going to have to be worked out.
Yeah, it is.
That's. I mean, literally, that's something you cannot snap your fingers and do, because to denuclearize and everything, they have to transport and safely dispose of the enriched uranium, the weapons grade plutonium. I mean, it's just not easy.
Yeah. Laura Bones and Futter, all Trump seems to have a permanent derp fate. He kind of does, except for that famous picture out of the G7 where he's like, that look is like, yeah, no, I'm not playing with y'all. Okay, all right, I'm gonna read this.
There you go. This is a good one for you.
Oh yeah, this is really good, and this is one for Mitch too. Supreme Court upholds Ohio's removal of voters. Justice Samuel A. Alito Jr. stated that Ohio's purging the names of voters who have moved and passed away meet the requirements of the National Voter Registration Act, and the 5-4 decision backs this. The conservatives agree with the ruling, but without shocking anyone, there are those who say Ohio's purging policy affects the poor and minority voters. The main contention over the state's policy and Supreme Court ruling backing it is because Republicans say this will help prevent voter fraud, which it will. The Democrats still contend a fraud at the polls is pretty much non-existent, and the end result will alienate those who are disadvantaged. They keep playing the same old tune. In order to stay within the law, Ohio sends out a notice after a voter is found to have skipped one federal election cycle. If the voter does not respond to the notice and their vote is not noted in the next 2 elections, the person is assumed to have moved and is taken off the rolls of registered voters. They also routinely purge those who have deceased.
Yes.
Justice Alito wrote, "We have no authority to second-guess Congress or to decide whether Ohio's law is the ideal method for keeping its voting roll up to date. The only question before is if whether it violates federal law. It does not." Of course, Sotomayor had to put her 2 cents in this motherfucking shit. I don't like that woman. Just in case you guys don't know. Alright, here we go. I'm trying to get it lined up here. Here we go. Justice... what the fuck? Justice Sotomayor has this to say. Communities that are disproportionately affected by unnecessarily harsh registration laws should not tolerate efforts to marginalize their influence in the political process, nor should allies who recognize blatant unfairness stand idly by.
Time out.
No, you're going to like Alito's response.
Okay.
Because Alito's not done. Justice Sotomayor's dissent says nothing about what is relevant in this case, namely the language of the NVRA. Justice Alito shot back and continued the rebuttal by saying she has not pointed to any evidence in the record that Ohio instituted or has carried out its program with discriminatory intent.
Yes. Hey, here's the thing. You know, it's like, oh my God, you mean, you know, like in the case of the 114 illegals who were, you know, rounded up in one Ohio place and everything. They can't use the illegals and the dead now, to vote to get their way.
It's like Mitch says.
Oh my God!
It's like Mitch says. Democrats, we can't win on the issue, so we need false voters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it was a lady straight out of. There was a lady in Illinois and a person in Ohio, and everything that bragged on camera
that she voted twice.
Yeah, more than once. Voted more than once.
Which is voter fraud in and of itself, but that it's
voter fraud doesn't exist.
It's very small
and everything,
it's negligible at best, according to the Democrats.
Right.
This
is why they don't want everybody to show ID at when they're voting and everything. That way, the same people can keep coming back.
Yeah.
Just change voting position. Doesn't work like that, you fucking morons.
And you get to read this one. And Jacob, for some reason, wants to know if you read Tom Clancy novels.
Yes, I've read Tom Clancy novels.
All right.
Many of them.
Here we go.
Sessions makes exclusions for Asylum. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has told immigration judges to cease giving asylum to most victims of domestic abuse and gang violence. Doing so would keep tens of thousands of people from seeking refuge in the United States. He set a precedent by using a case which involved a victim of domestic violence from El Salvador, saying victims of private crimes do not qualify for asylum. They don't. He further ruled that generally claims by aliens pertaining to domestic violence or gang violence perpetrated by non-governmental actors will not qualify for asylum. Asylum is for political refuge.
We're getting to that.
The mere fact that a country may have problems effectively policing certain crimes, such as domestic violence or gang violence, or certain populations are more likely to be victims of crime, cannot itself establish an asylum claim. This coincides with the Immigration Service's website, which has the following guidelines for seeking asylum. Every year, people come to the United States seeking protection because they have suffered persecution or fear that they will suffer persecution due to race, religion, nationality, membership to a particular group, and or political opinion. In a press conference, Sessions declares judges will be required to adhere to this interpretation of the law, which restores sound principles of asylum and long-standing principles of immigration law. Unless overturned by a federal appellate court rulings, the Attorney General's rulings are binding.
So he's not adding or making any more rules. He's just enforcing what's already on the books.
Exactly.
But illegal aid citizens are still citizens, right? They're illegal. They shouldn't be here, Futter.
They're not citizens.
Some gang violence should be accepted when the gangs have more power than the local governments. It's still gang violence.
Here's the thing, Futter. And just for thing and everything, if you're here illegally, you're committing a felony. Mm-hmm. Felons aren't allowed to vote for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, he's just enforcing what's already on the books. Because, I mean, the people that seek asylum are people who are literally being persecuted by their government. It has nothing to do with local crimes in the areas. If they're escaping persecution or oppression by a government regime, or they're seeking refuge or asylum because it's a war-torn country, that's something completely different. Unless the gangs are the ones in governmental power. Oh, his illegal comment was on the voter fraud. Yeah. But, unless, for some strange reason, if the gangs were to get governmental power, that would be a completely different can of worms.
Well, that's one of the things that they try to see. Most of them are referring to the cartels, and the cartels do run the government and are shielded by the government and everything. However, it's not political persecution.
Right.
And they're not picking on you because you're a woman or because they can and everything or because of your views. They're instilling fear in you and everything so you won't interfere with their business.
Yep. It's June 12th, and as promised, we're keeping everybody up to date out there with the primaries and what primary votes are coming up.
That's right.
Today, you got South Carolina, Maine, Nevada, North Dakota, and Virginia. Here's what's at stake in each of those states, starting with South Carolina. McMaster is shadowed by a corruption probe which may hurt his chances. he struggled to garner the number of votes he needed not to face a runoff. Representative Mark Sanford, a Trump critic, is being challenged by State Representative Katie Arrington in the coastal 1st District. Arrington is asserting Sanford is impeding Trump's agenda. So already, we've got contention.
Well, that, you know, these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. He's trying to put people back to work and everything, and these people are still really and truly, they're whining and crying because they haven't gotten their way.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it don't work like that.
In Virginia, note, this is the state of the House district that opted for Hillary over Trump in the 2016 election cycle. In the crosshairs of the Democrats is the freshman Representative Barbara Comstock, a Republican. Before she can face her Democratic opponent, she has to overcome a challenge from retired Air Force veteran Shaq Hill, who gave her criticism for voting against the Affordable Care Act in 2010. The Affordable Care Act, which we know doesn't work and is, overpriced, overbloated, and the prices of the premiums of the ACA are going up next year. Again. There are 6 Democrats running for the nomination, which makes the process of highest vote wins a free-for-all. In order to any party from Virginia to have a majority, 23 seats must be gained. So that's what's going on in Virginia. In Maine, Government Lepage, due to term limits, is out. This opens the gubernatorial race in that state and opens the field to GOP Garrett Mason, Kenneth Fredette, Lepage's former state health secretary chief Mary Mayhew, and the newcomer Sean Moody. It's a 7-way primary in Maine. Nevada and North Dakota, though, those are 2 key states that have competitive primaries. Neither of these states, they're pivotal, but they don't have any competitive primaries going on.
Yeah.
So, which means they're running without contention, I believe.
Yeah.
So that is what we're looking at in those 5 states. Please vote if you are in any of those 5 states that we reported on this morning. Your vote counts. It is important. Get your word out there. It's the only way for you to tell these politicians whether you're happy with what they're doing or whether you're absolutely disgusted. Your vote matters, people. Your vote matters.
North Dakota are a Republican state. Yeah, I think so. Nevada and North Dakota. I think they actually are.
Yep. So, yeah, we've got, we're keeping an eye on all those as normal because we want to be able to make sure that you guys know when these primaries are coming up and what's important and what's at stake in each of these states. We got to be able to keep on top of this. And we've, tell people how important it is to vote. I mean, I know a lot of people right now are of the mindset that their vote doesn't matter. It does, especially in primaries, especially for your state House representatives and your senators. Your votes count.
Yes, do not please get out and vote. Don't
vote blindly. Do your research on these guys that are running in your states.
Yeah, look them up and everything. Research everything that they've said. Research the things that the platform that they are running on. And everything.
If they have a voting history?
The last thing that I want is one of these all these gender studies people and everything, that complain that they can't get work.
Yeah.
To choose who makes decisions for me in Congress.
Yeah. Also, check their voting history, and if they voted against something, dig a little deeper, because sometimes there are things that are put in a main bill that particular senator or state representative didn't agree with, which prevented them from voting for that particular bill.
Yeah, like pass it and everything, then you can read it.
Right.
Find whatever's in it.
Exactly. Just binge watch TYT for 24 hours. No, I don't think so. We don't do the Young Turks. But that's so that is the news for June 12th. Now on to the shout outs.
I don't know what we're yelling about! Loud noises!
I remember one or the other. Okay, here we go. First shout out this morning, and everybody's going to moan and groan, but he did make some good points in this particular 17-minute video. Mundane Matt with the media is trying to villainize Star Wars fans. He's talking about how the media or the media machine behind the Star Wars franchise is trying to downplay what the fandom is saying about the movies and how they're going to continue making the movies whether or not the fandom actually likes the movies, and he actually drew parallels between Star Wars and that fiasco of the Ghostbusters.
Mainly Solo.
Yeah.
The Solo movie and the Ghostbusters reboot.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. The next one on the list this morning is Babbling Brooke. Women hate me. What's a Babs to do? She talks about her finally getting curious enough to walk over to her computer, sit down, and take a look at the demographics on the back end of her YouTube channel, only to find out that 0.6% of her viewers are female. What's a girl to do? She does do this in her own wonderful little quirky way, so it is a quick video, but it is a funny video. We love Babs. We love Babs.
She's fun to listen to. Absolutely a blast, a joy to listen to, and everything. I like her points of view most of the time, and you know, she's not hard on the eyes.
Nope. Mm-mm. And she's got some funny facial expressions too.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, the quartering also covers how the media is manipulating the Star Wars narrative. Yeah, I wanted to do that, but if I would have gone the whole Star Wars route, there would have been 4 recommendations on, you know, Star Wars and the fandom and how the media is going about them. So I tried to be a little, you know, have some variety. But yeah, I've been watching the quartering stuff. He's really good. And out of Fenrir of the Right, we have Beginner's Burrow. Beetles and roaches and worms, oh my. He talks about not the feeder roaches, but the actual, you know, because I don't know why people would want to keep roaches, but yuck. Hello, Fatality Gaming, welcome. I don't need now. Oh, that's Fen. He goes into the beetles that he's collected, the roaches, and, you know, the feeder worms and stuff that he has. And I did comment, yeah, you did. And I did comment that, you know, if he wanted roaches, we got plenty in this house. All he had to do was say so. Hello, Dracona. But yeah, he goes against the I love when he shows his new acquisitions, because he has the little dialogue that comes from them. And the beetles that he acquired are beetles that play dead whenever they think they're in danger. And he literally had one in his hand, and the dialogue that was pointing from the beetles going, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, which cracked me up to no end. Now I like the rare tropical roaches.
Right. So somebody ship him a Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Right.
No, not a regular one and everything. This thing's got to be the size. This thing's got to be the size of, you know, a child's foot. You know, completely take up a size 5 shoe.
Right.
You know, interior. You know that'll get him.
Oh yeah, getting massive ones soon. Oh Lord.
Oh God.
And we have an Inane Dragon with 11 questions asked. You know the drill. Christian apologist Stephanie Thomason has 11, well, 10, really closer to 9 questions she thinks atheists cannot answer. I'm less interested in offering my own rehashed answers, as I'm pointing out resources and references that predate her video and thoroughly answer these questions, and showcase the fact that plenty of people have been able to offer answers to all of these questions, either as videos or as blog posts. And I love Inane Dragon. Every time I watch one of his videos. Oh my god, and there's the link. There's a breed of roaches that actually cares for and raises its young. It's kind of grossly adorable. Yeah, they're roaches. I'm not interested. I don't want any more roaches. I have enough, thank you.
Yes, it's an ongoing battle just in this room. The rest of the house they can roam through and everything. As long as they stay out of this room, right. I'm good.
Right. For the Humble Bundle today, as I scroll up to generate the link to stick it in the chat, we do have a Curve digital publisher sale up to 85% off. Featured Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, Get Hearts of Iron 4, Black Wake, and more. That is if you subscribe for the Humble Bundle. Moonlighter, Anti-Graviator, wow. Far Cry 5, Hours of Darkness.
I got that.
You got that. Lego Disney Pixar's The Incredibles, Destiny 2 expansion passes, The Crew 2, Vampire, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Murder, Cultist Simulator, Super Bomberman R, and we're back to the beginning. So those are the sales that are highlighted.
Ooh.
The starter pack sale is still going on.
For 2 more days.
For 2 more days. So please, if you guys are interested, check those out. And those are all the games. They also have Jurassic World Evolution and Jurassic World Evolution Deluxe Dino. And the Evolution Deluxe if you guys are interested in trying out those games. So, yeah, every day they have bundles and sales and stuff. And we are a humble partner, so if you do click on that store link, whatever you purchase, we get a little bit.
Ooh, the Warhammer game plays like Diablo, Maddie.
Cool. The Lego Incredibles looks cool. I'm just too broke to get it. I'm right there with you. I wish Inane Dragon would be on a stream sober for once. Wait, shitlords are not. It's hard to tolerate the stuff that Ren and Igor find on Shitlords Anonymous.
Sober.
It's that cancerous.
I'm sorry. There's just some things I look at and go.
Yep.
Not sober.
Yep. And if you want to help me out with a passion project of mine, Maisie and the Treasure Map is it. It is a choose the adventure type series of blog posts and videos. And at the end of the latest one, you have 3 choices. Whichever choice gets the most vote is my writing prompt for the next chapter. Once the child's book is done being written, it will be edited and it will be published, and all proceeds will go to the charity that fights illiteracy that is noted in the description and at the bottom of each of the blog posts as well. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. I demand it. Yes, Laura is an avid reader of the series, and I think she's waiting on the next vote. I think she's waiting on everybody to vote so I can write the next one, because I think she's been hanging on the edge of her seat for what's coming next.
I'm waiting for what's next.
Yes, she actually does find a treasure map, and she follows the treasure. When I first started this particular project, I started it on Facebook, and it just grew. So I took those posts and put them on blog posts. And the people on Facebook that used to follow my fan page said that it reads like a Nancy Drew novel. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see, and I like having the interaction for the votes, because I don't know how you guys are going to vote, which makes it challenging for me when I get that writing prompt when all the votes are in. And it's really fun for me to do this project. So please help me out with that. Votes are still available. I am going to extend it till next Monday, because I want to get the new chapter out on Tuesday. So you're going to see this a couple more times this week. Let me see. I know I've got the... Yep. So those are all the places where you can find me. That link doesn't work anymore. You're going to have to go to my website to find it. But let me see if I've got it down here. Yep. Relative has a clue. And here we go. Let me see if I can show more. Yep. All the money will go to buildon.org, which is the charity of my choice that fights illiteracy. Nope, you don't have to vote again on the new site, because I think you voted in the description section at the end of A Relative Has a Clue. So as long as you did that, that is cool. For those of you that have been keeping up with it, this is the latest chapter in the video. From now on, the more updated blog post link is going to be in the description. But I can't do the video or the next blog post without your votes. So please help. It's for a good cause. Illiteracy in the world leads to a lot of the misinformation and the ignorance that is rife all over the world. Learning how to read gives you the tools and the weapons that you need to think critically and get all the information that you need on subject matter, political stances, and even to be a more informed voter. From children to adults and senior citizens, illiteracy is everywhere in all aspects of life, in all age ranges. And I would love to help in the fight, and I can't do that unless you guys help me finish Maisie's book.
That's right. And illiteracy is just a tip of the iceberg and everything. I think the next series should be Maisie Tells Time.
Maisie Maisie, you're bad. I love you. But that's funny.
With the shocking reports that people can't read analog clock.
I know.
And everything. I think it should be, the next charity.
It's a really good costume. Books are my childhood friends. Every kid should get a chance to read. Yes, every kid should get a chance to read. Every kid should. If you are looking for other live streams throughout the day, that link is now in the live post. No, not Maisie Finds Porn. Maisie Plays Games. That is the link to the live streams that go out during the day. If you haven't added yours to the list, just click on that link, scroll down to the page, to the end of the page, fill out that form, and I will get an automatic email notification in order to... Maisie goes to the polls. In order to add it to the listing, and as soon as I update the listing, when I tweet it out, I will tweet out the update. So
actually, and everything, Maisie's mysterious vacation.
Oh.
And everything, they're planning on going vacation. The parents are planning on going on vacation. Mm-hmm. They've mentioned the vacation, but they haven't told her where, and they've just collectively dropped off, I don't know, clues everywhere.
Dracona. Maisie, go to the poll. Sounds like a porn. No, Maisie will never get a gender study degree.
Maisie goes to family planning. No.
Maisie and the Mysterious Maze. So, yeah, it is. Let me see if I can pull up. I'm going to pull that up real quick to give you guys at least the first chapter if you guys want to read that. Let me see here. Go to my profile. Click on my own website because, yeah.
Yes, click on your own website.
Alright, here we go. And... delay. Right, let me see. Category. Maisie and the Treasure Map. There we go. If you guys want to catch up on reading it, it is now in the live chat. That is the category that opens up all of the chapters. I hope those of you that haven't read it will take a glance at it, and I hope you guys like what you see. Like I said, it is a passion project of mine, and I don't get any of the proceeds. I currently am working for 2 clients, freelance writing, but that doesn't mean that I can't take on one more commission. Please go to my website for my rates. I do transcriptions if you guys want to have captions on your videos that aren't as goofy as the ones on YouTube. I also do ghostwriting and things of that nature. I keep missing use your words because of stupid time difference. I know. I'm thinking of at least once a month moving it to Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Because
a little earlier in the day.
I'm trying to coordinate with White Sith Male because he wants to play it too, but he's way over there in Scandinavia and Sweden. So that time, well, everybody's in different parts of the world, so it makes it difficult.
I have to do it like early one Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it.
It'll be early for us and everything, and just right for them.
Yep.
But we'll get with you guys and everything and have a European version.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, my friends, please check out the recommended videos. Please check out Maisie so we can keep moving on the Choose Your Own Adventure book. And until next time, my friends, may your coffee ever flow. May your caffeine be ever strong. Cynthia is a useless pork. And may you have a totally terrific Tuesday. Catch you next time, guys.
See you guys.